Hello from Skiathos, the Greek island where we're exploring the relationship between landscape, soulscape, and a creative life. There's a practice that appears in all kinds of spiritual traditions. It's fundamental to any kind of soul work. It can calm us down when we're feeling overwhelmed. It's easy to do, can be taught in a few minutes, and exploring the depths of it can last a lifetime. I'm talking about attention to the breath. This is the source of life and connection. It's at the heart of many ancient meditation techniques, as well as advocated by modern psychology experts. The practice transcends belief systems. You find it in Christian mysticism, in Buddhism, in shamanic practice, in all kinds of eclectic spiritual ways. As well as that rich tradition, it also has a sound scientific grounding. So even if we're firm atheists with no belief in a transcendent reality, the simple physiological processes involved have a beneficial effect on our stress levels. It's a great way to begin meditating for those who have no experience and are looking for a place to start. And like a world-class concert violinist practicing her scales, however experienced we are in our spiritual life and practice, it's always important to return to it. So if you're just beginning your soul journey, or you've been traveling for decades, or if you're simply seeking a way to calm yourself down in the face of stress and overwhelm, this beautifully simple yet profound practice has something to offer you. In this video, I'm going to offer some thoughts about the power and meaning of our breath. I'll say a little about this painting here. I'll offer some ideas about how to use intentional breath in our daily lives and meditation. Let's try it now for a moment. Take 3 long, slow, deep breaths together. Find your own rhythm, but breathe in deep right into your belly, filling your lungs, slowly in and slowly out. Even with that short moment of intentional breath, just 3 breaths, I wonder if you felt a shift in your energy, a calming perhaps, or a revitalized focus, or maybe something else. I remember years ago when I used to live in London, I was traveling on the Underground, the subway, during the summertime, on my way to King's Cross Station to catch a train. And the carriage was packed with people. And I was pushed to the edge of the space near the door where the ceiling kind of curves over, which was not a comfortable space for me. I'm 6'3" in height. So I was wedged in there. People pressed against me from all sides. Everyone was heartened, hassled. And then in the middle of one of the tunnels, the train juddered to a halt. And the driver's voice came over the PA telling us that we may be stuck there for some time as there were problems with the signalling. Well, you can imagine the collective sigh of frustration across the train. And there I was, crushed against the wall of the carriage, bent over, and realizing that if we didn't start to move soon, then I'd miss my train connection. Now, I'm not one to suffer from claustrophobia, but the situation was enough to test anyone's sense of freedom. And trapped in that tiny space, breathing the hot fumes of summer, I could feel panic beginning to rise in me. A restless urgency pulsed in my body. And then I remembered the practice of attending to my breath. Simply paying attention to the flow of breath in and out, the sensation of breathing. And in that flow, releasing any external distractions, not fighting them, acknowledging them, and then returning to the sensations of breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Ow, my neck is hurting. Okay, return to the breath. Breathe in, breathe out. What will I do if I miss my train? Release that thought. Breathe in, breathe out. Someone's standing on my toe. That's okay. Breathe in, breathe out. And slowly, slowly, the heightened energy, the frantic sense of panic abates. The problem isn't solved. I was still stuck in an underground tunnel. I could still miss my train. There was nothing in my power that I could do to change that. What I could change was how I was holding and responding to the situation. Breathe in, breathe out. Because in each breath, everything was okay. Everything was at peace. There would be a time for action eventually when we pulled into King's Cross and I had to run to catch the train. But for that moment, simple attention to breath was all that was needed. There you are, sitting frustrated in a meeting at work because your boss has ignored your great idea. Breathe in, breathe out. The text message comes through with the news you've been dreading. Breathe in, breathe out. The children have been running around screaming all day. Breathe in, breathe out. The situation doesn't change, it's not magic. But our bodies and our psyches begin to respond not from frantic, panicky frustration, but from a much more grounded place. So the decisions we make from that place of peace, rather than an overstimulated reaction of anger or impulsiveness, are much wiser and have the potential to deliver much more fruitful consequences. Breath is our connection to self, but also our connection to all things. Watch as these bubbles float away out over the valley. Each one holds the breath of my lungs, air that was intimately entwined with my body, carbon dioxide that was created by the metabolic pathways of my own cells is now drifting out over the forest in a matter of seconds. In a few minutes, that out-breath will be over the Aegean Sea, swept up and mingling with the breath of birds, of sheep and goats and insects and other human beings, all woven together. In a couple of weeks, that breath will have flowed all around the whole earth. We are all intimately connected. Breathe in, breathe out. You are breathing air that has flowed through my lungs, and I'm breathing air that has flowed through you, through every person alive now, through every tree, through every blue whale, through every hummingbird, everything that lives or has ever lived. We are all connected in our breath, whether we like it or not. And to experience the liberation of that releasing as the bubbles float away is to let go of trying to control and fret over the things we have no control over. There are so many wild birds here on the island. You can hear their song in the olive groves in the morning. And I wanted to attract some to our balcony here so I could see them up close from the window. So I went to the supermarket and bought some bird seed and set them out to call the birds in. I never saw any birds take the seeds, but each morning the bowl was empty. So I was delighted that this little gift I was offering to the world was finding its way into the air, even if I hadn't seen any of the bird visitors yet. But I kept watching and kept refilling the bowl every day, and every day it was emptied. And then one day, as I went to look, this is what I found. With their communal industrial energy Ants had found a food supply and were carrying the seeds one by one from the bowl down the wall of the house like an insect motorway. And they were taking them down into the earth. I had offered a gift with the desire for a particular response, and instead of the air taking the gift, the earth claimed it instead. Once the gift is offered, we have no control. Once our breath leaves us, it flows where it will. There's no need to expend our energy pretending that we're in control or trying to wrestle control from that which is way beyond our power. And so I found peace with the fact that my gift of seeds was nourishing the ants of the earth rather than the birds of the sky. And in many ways, these videos are like those seeds. I'm sending them out with love into the world, trusting that the right people will connect with them at the right time. If you subscribe to the channel or click on the video like now or share it with a friend, then that's a huge help to me. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate everyone who's done that. Now this painting explores something of the power of the flow of our breath. The figure grounded and rooted in the earth, holding the steadfast mountain, in touch with the wisdom of his inner cave, deep in the depths of his belly. He uses the breath as a conduit for life to flow. Nourished by the breath of his voice, it blossoms in the world as a flower, offering life and beauty. At the same time, the eye of his heart opens, offering a new vision, a new way of seeing with deep insights of love. And the pathways of the lungs form like the structure of a tree, branching out, rooting down, or like the flowing channels of an estuary spreading out across a fertile plain. These fractal patterns repeated in so many ways in the world around us, echoing our intimate relationship with all things. The same shapes, the same physical laws form us all. Now, I've already suggested how taking a moment to breathe can help us in those sudden moments of stress in our lives. But finding a time and a space to intentionally focus on the breath can really help us regulate our nervous system on a regular basis. We don't need to wait for the crisis point. In fact, when we develop this practice in more peaceful times, it makes it easier to enter into it when we really need it. Like physical training. It's easier to run for the bus in an emergency if we already have a certain level of fitness to run. So here's one suggestion of how we can use this as a way into meditative practice. As I said earlier, it's the foundation stone for so much soul work, as well as being a very healthy psychological practice. If you've never tried this before, then I hope this will be a gentle introduction. And, if you have years of experience with meditation, years of experience with soul work and so on, I hope this will be a helpful reminder of how powerful it can be just to come back to the basics when there are so many complicated spirituality systems and practices out there. Quite honestly, if attending to our breath is the only spiritual practice we explore, and we explore it to its depths in our whole lives, then that's enough. Just 5 minutes of grounded breath work a day can totally transform our lives. So here's one way to begin. Find a place to sit quietly where you won't be disturbed for the time you want to sit for. Set a timer so that you won't be preoccupied checking the time. Maybe 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever feels right for you. Sit well, paying attention to how your body connects to the ground, or even lie down in bed if you like. Sense the feeling of the floor beneath your feet, the cushion that holds your weight. And now very gently bring your attention to the sensations of the breath. Perhaps the feeling of the flow of air in and out of your nostrils, or the feeling of your rib cage moving under your skin, or your diaphragm moving down into your belly. This sensation that you choose will be your anchor point in the breath. And when those distractions come, and they will definitely come, this is what you bring your attention back to. The distractions, the moment I sit for a practice like this, my mind is suddenly full of all kind of racing thoughts. Or sometimes it's a distraction from outside, the sound of a police car racing past, for example. Rather than attach to the distraction and wrestle with it, like, grr, I'm thinking about what to have for lunch. I'm no good at meditation. It'll never work. I'll never be able to do it. Simply notice it. Ah, I'm thinking about what to have for lunch. And then let it float away like those bubbles in the air. And back to the sensation of the breath, whichever of those sensations you chose. Take lovely, long, slow breaths down into your belly. Allow the air to nurture you and refresh you. It brings life and peace in and out, like the ebb and flow of the tide. When the distractions come, again, notice the distraction and let it float away. Even if it arises again and again, feelings of frustration that arise are very common when we enter into this way of being. We might think, oh, this is stupid. Why am I wasting my time sitting here breathing when I could be doing something more productive or more fun? Again, notice the distraction, let it go, and bring your attention back to the sensation of the breath. One of the most cunning distractions, and the spiritual teacher Ram Dass talks about this, he's well worth listening to if you find his talks online. He's a very playful teacher. One of the most cunning distractions he talks about is when we begin to feel a shift in our energy and sense the depth and peace begin to open up. When that happens to me, my brain starts to go, oh wow, it's working, I'm really doing it. No, that's another distraction. Simply notice that thought and allow it to float away and back to the sensation of the breath. This sounds like such a simple practice, and it really is. Simplicity is the key. There's so often a drive in us to insist that profundity should be complicated and involved. But it takes a lifetime to master and to really explore the depth of potential that this breath practice opens up. Once the time is up, it can be helpful to do a little review. Maybe note how you feel afterwards, what thoughts and feelings emerged or arose during the time of breathing. And even those thoughts and feelings of frustration and boredom and restlessness, when they come up, that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. In fact, those energies very often arise when we set out down the path to live more intentionally and more centered and in a more grounded way. When we choose that over that racing after every urgent impulse. And I'd like to say it gets easier with practice, and in some ways that's true, but new challenges emerge along the road. But we can face all of that and hold it fruitfully and skillfully by returning to the life of the breath once again. Now, if you have experience of this practice of working with the breath in meditation, I'd love to hear your story. Drop a comment below, or if you're trying this for the first time, I'd be really interested to hear how it flows for you. Above all, as with all the practices I offer on this channel, let's hold ourselves with gentleness and kindness. There's no need for an urgent drive to achieve some kind of enlightened state in a few weeks. Value where you are right now. Value who you are right now, how you are right now. It's in that gentle, loving holding that we grow. And as you explore these things, if a one-to-one video call will be helpful, I've got over 15 years of experience accompanying people on their spiritual journeys. So do drop me a message and we can discuss together what might work for you in all of that. Also, if you'd be interested in having your personal story and experience expressed in a piece of art, then I'd be really happy to work with you. When people commission me in this way, we work together to create a unique artwork. It might be a painting like this, or a little sculpture or talisman like this driftwood painting. Whatever will be helpful to you. Send me a message or follow the link that's attached to this channel if that feels good. Now, I really appreciate all the positive feedback that I've been receiving for these videos. If there's a subject that you'd be interested in me exploring and talking about here, then do let me know and I'll make an episode especially for you. Now, thank you for listening. I hope you have a peaceful and gentle day. And I'll be here again at the same time next week for more journeys with art, soul, and landscape. Lots of love.